gorgeous creatures, and welcome back to another episode of On the Couch with Krazy Chaz. Yes, that's me, the one, the only, the fabulous. Today's episode is all about stationery terminology, printing terms, tool terms, embellishment terms. I find this a very important aspect in our industry for both people breaking into the industry or students or brides wanting to try and tell their suppliers what they want. How many times have you gone, oh, you know that thingy-mabobby, magadgety, you know that thing? And as a supplier, you're going, yeah, sure, it could be ... So this episode is purely dedicated to get our terminology right. I know I even sometimes don't get my terminology right. What I have in here is not always what comes out of here. So, on with the show. If you like what we're doing, if you like our episode, if you like me, remember to subscribe, hit those likes and those notification bells, so we know that you like what we're doing, and the algorithm can then share this episode and this series with other people who might find this interesting. Okay, on with the show. Alright, we kick off with blind embossing. This is embossing without the addition of ink or foil. Letters and images appear raised but are colorless and are normally used for borders, monograms and other designs, but not for the entire invitation. A die is an etched metal plate used to engrave, emboss or cut out images, typeface and shapes. It's mainly used in the process of envelopes. Digital printing has basically revolutionized the invitation industry. It is a form of tiny dots that make up massive papers or prints. Embossing is the process where you use two dies to raise letters and images on a piece of paper surface. The paper is impressed and etched with the designs and words to produce a beautifully subtle detail. Plate engraving is the process where a plate is etched with your invitation wording and then pressed into the paper, leaving only the letters slightly raised. Engraving plate is etched from steel or copper. Foil stamping. Now, this is a technique in which a plate is used to push gold, silver, or even colored metallic foils into a paper to make an impression. The foil also creates a shiny design. It is relatively expensive, but beautifully finished. Foil stamping is where you use laser black ink print and have foil heat applied to that black print to get a foil. Much cheaper and easier going. Laser printing is the process to cut out words and shapes for invitation, and it leaves a beautiful high-class finish. Letterpress is a printing technique in which a metal plate is carved to leave behind only the lettering and images you want printed. The letters are then inked, and the design is transferred by placing the paper against the plate and manually applying pressure, sinking the images and letters into the paper. Offset printing. This is also known as flat printing. The process involves a stamp-like instrument that prints the words and images once the ink is pre-mixed. Unlike digital printing, you can use highly textured paper to get that perfect finish. Screen printing is a process that involves a mesh stencil, the screen, being pressed against material, generic fabric or whatever. Ink is then pressed through the porous mesh onto the material with a roller. Thermography, a heat-based process that fuses ink and resinous power to create a raised letting. The subtle difference between typography and engraving is that with typography the text is shinier and the back of the invitation remains smooth. Alignment is used to describe the position of your invitation and text in relation to margins. Traditionally, the text is centered on the card. Modern invitations almost play around with this a little bit, sometimes aligning all to one side. calligraphy. It's artistic, stylized handwriting. Traditionally, a calligrapher would use an ink and a quill with a steel nib pen. Calligraphy was very much for the prestigious, and it can be used on invitations, envelopes, or menus. Flourishes are the ornate calligraphy details and scroll work attached to calligraphy letters that frequent out-of-formal invitations. Initial cap, which is seen here, is a term for an exaggerated, oversized first letter of a word you sometimes use in lavish calligraphy or decorative typeface. Point size is the unit of measurement indicating the size of an individual letter or character. Typeface is the style and appearance of a letter or a character, often referred to as font. Topography refers to the art of arranging typefaces, point sizes, and line length into a cohesive, readable language. A backer is a piece of paper or card for your invitation to be displayed on top of. It often matches the scheme of the wedding. It's a way to add a design element to a simpler invitation. Bamboo paper is an eco-friendly paper made from bamboo. It's soft, thick, and ideal for letterpress. Beveled edge. This is the slanted edge of a heavier stock that shows thickness and dimension of an invitation. Corrugated paper. This is thick, wrinkled, ridged, and grooved paper that gives cardboard that finishing touch. Now this is cotton fiber. It's made of 100% cotton, arguably traditional and best option for invitations. But here we can also see a deckled edge, which is the irregular feather or torn-looked edge associated with handmade paper. Glycerine is a very thin, waxy, similar to vellum, but it is best used for envelopes and liners rather than an actual invitation because of its delicate nature. Handmade papers are made from materials like cotton, rag, hemp, plant fibers. They have an uneven, rough texture. Industrial papers like kraft are made from recycled fibers and have a rugged, hip look. Laid paper is similar to vellum. It has a ribbed texture with fine lines running across the grain of the paper, leaving a bumpy finish. It's generally more decorative than for actual invitations. Linen finish is a type of paper with a finish that is grainier than pure cotton stock and resembles the look and feel of cotton linens. A very classic choice for wedding invitations. This is an envelope liner. It's a decorative piece of paper used to line the inside of envelopes. It can be thin like parchment or thick like construction paper, but adds beautiful finishes to any invitation suite. Marbled paper is a decorative paper. It can be soft, it can be strong, and with swirling patterns similar to the surface of marble. Matte paper is a paper with a non-reflective finish. Depending on the thickness, it can also be used for invitations, and it's a great contrast to foiling. This is Maillard. This is a plastic-like, shiny, reflective finish. It is mainly used for stencils, in crafting. It works really, really well. This is parchment paper. It's cloudy, translucent paper, generally used as a decorative element rather than an invitation itself. Here we have an example of rice paper. It's soft, thin, and mainly used in the cake and baking industries. It is edible, as it is made from a mulberry and hemp. This is stock paper. Stock is used to describe the thickness and heaviness of the paper. Formal invitations use a heavier stock paired with squares of delicate stock like parchment. Tooth refers to the paper's feel. The more tooth paper has, the more rougher the texture. Variegated. This is the term that describes the look of certain papers that have distinctive hints of different colors, almost like watercolor. Vellum. This is very popular and on trend. It is made from a cotton blend and almost translucent frosted-like. It works very well with UV print, as seen here with the white. A watermark is a translucent emblem in fine paper that is only visible when held up to the light. A watermark denotes superb quality and exclusivity in its paper. Bifold is the term where invitations are folded to resemble a greeting card. It's also known as a folder because you could add a pocket for more details. Boxed is a custom-made box created of silk, velvet, or even an elegant thick paper that holds the whole invitation for a luxe presentation. Envelopes, the most traditional way of packaging envelopes and invitations. They can be classic and they can be more modern by putting personalized details. Moving on to folds. Gatefold, trifold, Z-fold, panel fold. It all depends on what you want to look and feel, and this is a good illustration for all the different types of folds. Belly bands. This is a piece of material or paper for your invitation that holds it all together. It can be a simple ribbon or luxe laser cut paper. Edge printing. This is painting or inking the edge of thicker cardstock and is often done with an invite with a beveled edge. Map cards are most commonly featured in enclosed invitation suites. It can be hand-painted or customized. It can call out locations where the wedding and events are going to be taking place, even the couple's favorite local spots. A monogram is a combination of your partner and your name. It can have your initials, their initials, a combination of initials, or just your new married surnames. Many couples use it as a custom design monogram in their wedding motif. Perforations are small holes that appear in paper to create a designer effect or a tearing line. Wax seals is a very traditional form of sealing your envelopes. Often a family emblem is made into a wax seal for a wedding, or they can create their own monogram. Very much on trend at the moment. This is something that is used to stick one material to another. Common craft adhesives include glue dots, glue sticks, double-sided tape, and photo stickers. Double-sided tape is a tape that's sticky on both sides and can be used as flat or 3D. A bone folder is used for scoring or folding paper. It's a flat piece of plastic or bone which is pointed at one end and rounded on the other. Brads. Brads are available in a wide range of designs, shapes and colors. It has two prongs which is pushed through paper or card and then flattened to hold in place, much the same way as a split pin. Cello bags are used to protect your invitations and wedding stationery. It's nice to present all your items that you've done for the couple, and it protects the paper. Corner punch is used to cut corners into shapes, usually rounded, and it just gives that professional finished look. Craft knife is an essential item for making invitations cards and scrapbooking. It is very sharp and it has replaceable blades. A cutting mat is used with a craft knife. It protects the surface and doesn't damage the table that you're working on. Die cut is a term that means cut out the shape. The shape is usually cut from a metal template called a die. Distressing, mainly used in scrapbooking, but it is a method to give your project an old and worn look. It can be achieved in many ways, including stamping, crumbling, inking, tearing, and sandpapering. Embellishment is any decorative item that you use on your invitations or card, be it a buckle, a button, or lace. Embossing is a technique when stamping to create a raised image. It also is put in our printing terminology. Embossing powder is a fine powder that is available in a variety of colors. Embossing powder is sprinkled over a wet stamped image and heated to create a raised impression. Eyelets are metal fasteners with holes in the middle. They are attached to invites or cards. They are great for ribbon to be placed through without having tears in the ribbon. Gel pens come in many colors and can be used in small areas to create precise color. Very great for the DIY bride. Glitter glue is a pre-mixed with very fine glitter. Glitter glue is usually white and dries clear. Glue dots are used to attach embellishments such as buttons or heavy materials. They are extremely sticky and should not be removed once applied. Glue gun is a heat-held gun that pushes out glue, great for boxes and heavy embellishments. Rub-ons. These are transfers that are applied by rubbing with a stick. Once applied, they are permanent. They are commonly used on scrapbook pages or layouts or card making ideas. And finally, scoring. This is a way of creating a line that can be used for a fold on a card. Perfect and precise. Alright guys, I hope you're a little bit more enlightened. I will put a PDF document in the description with all the terms that we discussed in this episode, just so that you have all your P's and Q's in line. Alright, if you like what we've done, give us a like, share your comments. We will reply to every comment that you do. The more you want to see, the more we will give. So give us some ideas, some topics. In our next episode, we will be talking about my business collaborations, my inspiration, my creative journey from student to entrepreneur, and maybe just some inspiration or some guides to new and upcoming stationers out there. All right, my lovelies, stay gorgeous.